everybody. It's good to see you again virtually. Of course, you're on Music and Chat with Shueh-li Ong on this special broadcast, the first anniversary of my album. Right there, the picture cover, MissOriented Metaphor, aka Miss OM4. It's a hot, it's a piping hot day today, and I'm at the home of my dear friends Alan and Karen, and they have provided me with comfortable lodgings and an AC which likes to make a lot of noise. And so I've turned it off. I'm at the mercy of the heat outside, but I am so happy to be here with you all. Hoorah! Oh, I was going to do this. There we go. That's the way it should be. So, if you're here to celebrate with me, and I can see my friend Sam from Australia and my friend Gary from Frederick, Maryland. If you're here to join us to celebrate, please let us know where you're tuning in from in the live chat there to your right. And don't be backward and coming forward. That's my favorite phrase on music and chat. So, I've just returned from a trip to Scotland to to have a holiday. Vacate. To have a holiday with friends and to meet some academic associates. I've only been back for 3 days or something, like 3 days, so I'm terribly jet lagged. And if you start to see my eyes go funny twirly like in the cartoons, that's because my brain is trying to adjust to what is happening right now in front of me. Well, my brain is still picturing the Highlands of Scotland. I also want to say hi to our dear friend from the Netherlands, Dread Red Earth Dragon. It's so good to see you, though. Let me put you in the there we are. Hey, Dread Rat. It's good to see you always. And I also want to put in to the live display our great friend Gary from Frederick, Maryland. Gary is also Music and Chat's archivist, and he gets to do the dirty work when I'm tired with cleaning. And Sam, my dear friend Sam as well, he says in the live chat, I'm here first. I'm the first. So good to see you all. Again, if you're tuning in to join us to celebrate the first anniversary of my album, MissOriented Metaphor, please say hi in the live chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm glad everything seems to be going well, technically speaking, so I'm going to move along just in case, because just 2 minutes before I went live, my laptop just shut down. So, good laptop, good go. All right, so we're here because of Miss OM4, which was released on Music and Chat in live broadcast from Nelco Comics in San Antonio exactly a year ago. So I want to say hi to our dear friends at Nelco Comics, particularly Philip Nelson and his gang of merry men. But I have some announcements. First announcement, all albums and EP on my Bandcamp store are 50% off for a week starting today. If you don't own my music yet or are looking to give a gift of music, please download mine. And let me show you how the Bandcamp page looks like. If you're interested, this is what it looks like. If you need to know how to get there, you just spell my name, shueliong.bandcamp.com, right here, as you can see. And on display, you'll see all the albums that are 50 off, starting with my first album, the first that was ever released, Shueh-li's Xenovibes. There you are. And then we have Music from Another Land. The third album was Crossing Paths. Some people pronounce it sing path or zing path, but it's crossing path, as in pedestrian crossing here. The fourth album is a working title. This one was written and released in Nashville. And our EP, the Triangle EDM set. And of course, the album that we're here to talk about, MissOriented Metaphor. Okay, there's blurb about each album on the album homepage, so to speak, so you can see, what you're dealing with. You can also audition each track for up to 3 times before Bandcamp persuades you to be the owner be the owner of my music. And you also get to see the musicians who played or what instruments were part of the whole production, so on and so forth. Okie dokie smoky. Alright, announcement number 2 is a win an album download contest. I was quite concerned that we wouldn't have enough viewers for the live stream, and I know it's quite awkward to do a live stream and expect everyone to be sitting at home waiting for it. Most of my subscribers tend to view the archived version of a live stream at their own leisure, when they are actually able to tune in and enjoy at their own pace. So but I'll give it a shot. I'll see who's around who might like to answer some questions to win a digital download of 5 of the albums at least. So the way I'm gonna do this is you type the correct answer in the live chat, and the first person with the correct answer is the winner. As simple as that. There's latency issues from when you type the answer to when you see the answer appear in the live chat. So I'm gonna take the first answer that I see, and I will count on our music and chat archivist to say yes, that's the first answer that he sees as well, and we'll go with that one. Okay, no fighting. Alright, so let's begin the celebrations. It's 7:10 approximately. Let's begin our celebrations by listening to a track from Miss OM4, and this track's gonna be the finale, Miss O Halcyon, which seems to be a favorite of the radio DJs. And I would really like to thank Gagley Archives, Prog Rock Diner, and Progzilla from UK for showing the album much love. There we are. Alright, album summary. But first, a little about the album. Much about the album was discussed in detail during the album release live streams a year ago, which included appearances from the musicians who played on this album. But here's a little bitty for you to better understand what you are hoping to purchase. And that is MissOriented Metaphor, follows the concept of a concerto and has several movements of various sections with contrasting tempi, that means tempo in plural, the appearance of motivic repetition and variation, and solo cadenzas. The most important part for me was solo cadenzas. And this album is my pride and joy after years of focused R&D and the documenting and refining of my theremin techniques. This album, aka the concerto, also features my continual experimentation with extended synth performance techniques. So, about track 6, the finale, aka Miss O Halcyon. First of all, the finale in a concerto, which is a classical musical form, it has typically 7 movements arranged in this manner: A, B, A, C, A, B, A. I hope this is not too much for you to swallow right now, but just hang on there and stay with me. Our finale is arranged this way: F, A, B, A, C, D, E, A. So a tip for you music connoisseurs: listen out for the 8 movements and how it goes through various styles. Take note of A, which is the recurring theme, and E is where the solo cadenza happens, with Dean on guitar and my synth preempting this. So I'll play the entire track for you from my Bandcamp page. Again, this is the finale. So that's the finale of the album, MissOriented. I'm just gonna adjust my volume a little because I noticed it's a little on the low side. I hope I'm still heard clearly. So the finale, as I said, kind of draws from the rest of the album, from material from the rest of the album, and it brings back, it kind of welcomes back motivic and musical items from the entire album, so that it kind of concludes the whole project musically for you. It might tweak and alter the motivic or musical material when it brings it back, but if you listen closely, you can identify these assets, so to speak, these motives or phrases. So at this point, the reason why I'm spending a bit more time to explain it is because section E draws from the third track on this album, Liberty Frisson. If you can hear that loud siren, there is something going on out there on the streets. But I hope you can't, because I hope my voice is all that you hear. But the window is open to allow some breeze to come in so that I don't roast in this room. So as I said, section E harkens back to material found in Frisson, which is track 3, Liberty and Frisson, particularly the motivic structure of the synth line and the sound of the synth line. I won't try and explain it, I'll just play it for you. So listen carefully to Frisson first, from this area here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that's a segment of Frisson that I want you to keep in here for a short while we listen to the original placeholder idea for for section E of MissOriented, which I initially crafted as a call and response. I noticed in my project I wrote that call and response. Call and response is, as you know, someone calls out "eh," and the other person responds with "eh," or whatever it is you want to do, call and response. But I was thinking, Dean's guitar and my synth could do a call and response kind of situation, but that was just the initial thought that I had. You'll also note that in this example I'm going to play for you a clip from when I was at that stage of the crafting of the finale. You also notice that the synthesizer voice reflects that which was created for Frisson, the segment that you just heard from Frisson. So let's go to MissOriented and listen to the clip where I had on one of the very early stages when I was still conceptualizing the whole thing, where I used a placeholder synth bearing the sound from the synth from Frisson. So here it goes. Listen to an alternative solo take that we had Dean play, or not we had Dean, but he offered this alternative before we settle on the one that actually appears on the final version. So I've got this I've got this for you, for your consumption as well. Here is Dean's other solo that did not end up on the final version, or as some people call it, an outtake. Now I want you to listen back to the finale track, the finished version, Miss O Halcyon, the finale track. I'll play section E for you again, and you'll realize that I reworked my synth sound to complement Dean's a bit more. Of course, when it comes to finalizing everything, there's a bit more finesse and sophistication that goes into a final mix down and mastering. So what you're hearing are just, the work in progress. So you'll realize there's a difference. You realize the quality is quite different. So without further ado, I want you to hear that I altered my synth sound to match Dean's. I also enacted my phrasing and articulation to follow his a little more, because my synth line preamps his solo, which eventually took the place of my initial placeholder. So here it is again from that section. Where are we? Okay, so you get an idea how I made my choices, and well, not every step of the way, but you get an idea of at least a couple of stages slash choices that I made in crafting and deciding on how the end result would be. Of course, it was most fun to work with Dean's material, and I know he's still expecting an A-B comparison. If you were around for the album release broadcast, Dean joined us on the Players special, where I had some questions for him about working on MissOriented Metaphor, and he talked about wanting to hear, I think it was Galord. Which track was Galord? Track 4, where he wanted to hear maybe an unaffected version of his playing. So speaking of the Players broadcast or episode with him discussing working with me on the album, he also talked about how he handles a solo. Those of you who watched it a year ago will probably remember this, but I asked him during the interview how he handles a solo. Does he think of melody, or does he think Hanon exercises for guitar? And he answered, melody drives connection. Find an ingenious way to go from one spot to another. But without me having to encapsulate the essence of his answer, I would rather play that segment for you. Recall that I asked you, and it's right here. So let me find you the right spot. Here we go. All right. So listen very clearly to what Dean has to say about how he handles solos. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
So here's my question. When asked to do a solo, of course, I'm a different client to your usual one, but when asked to do solo, do you think melody, or do you think Hanon exercises for guitar?
Well, it's kind of melody drives it, but the connections, you kind of have to have a lot of that under your fingers to take it out of your mind, is the way to put it. So you can do a little, a cascade of fifths, and still all the notes are enough. Well, first of all, the environment that you said is tonal, even though it's unpredictable rhythmically. So part of it is just sort of like being in a game of laser tag, where you're getting surprises from your opponent, the opponent being the rhythm track. And so part of it is just finding ingenious ways to get from one safe spot to another. And then when you know you're in a territory of safety, you can let go a little bit of all the handy stuff that is right at hand, that you know where it is, and you know where you're at for a couple of bars. You're in one key center. So it's the same way if I'm just constructing a solo on a song that I know, a standard or something like that. It's I kind of zoom out enough where I'm the listener also. And if we've taken it in this direction to the point of, I try to, before the point of tedium, take it into another direction that gives that first one context, just by being in a different, painting a little different stroke in the next section, right? And you can take it back and forth there and keep it interesting for the listener. It makes a little adventure, abstract adventure, that if you've made it coherent enough, the listener, and me, I'm trying to be the listener too, is curious as to what comes next. So I guess part of it is being able to kind of think of an idea and do it, but you have to make the context and the chord environment familiar to yourself before you can do that. Especially on a guitar, it's not note to note so much as you've got little pockets of familiar territory, right? So you kind of throw all those together and try to make it an interesting trip for the listener to be on. And I know you want to climax at a certain point, and so you take that assignment to get there.
So that's like about how many minutes of almost 5 minutes of Dean giving us an idea of how he approaches doing solos. And if you're curious about the chat that we had a year ago about how we worked on MissOriented Metaphor, please go to my YouTube website. It's Oceana Sheen. And you look for what's it called? Playlist, I mean. And it's right here, actually. Music and Chat with Shueh-li Ong plus Music and Chat Expose. And if you scroll back to 1 year ago, we have the actual release day. And then we had the player special with Dean there. And then with Jack and John. So that's where you find all this material, the interviews. And my segment with Dean was quite long. I don't know how long this...
Familiar territory.
What was it? An hour and a half. So plenty of things to pay attention to and to learn from. Okay, with that said, I've hit the 7:40 mark. And I wanted to do this contest thing. I don't know how many people want to play it. Everyone who's on already, who have already registered themselves on the live chat, I believe you all have an album, except Dread Red Earth Dragon. I don't know if you're still there, but so maybe just for the fun of it, let's try and answer the questions if you want to try. Gary, Mike, Sam? And I'll just ask a few. Hold on. Let me just check my communication here. Oh, Jet Red's still there. Okay, let's do the contest. Let's just get some answers to these questions. If you want the album, I'll give it to you. But if not, let's play it for fun. Alright, here goes. Here's the question. There are a couple of questions per album, and the first one is for Miss OM4, and the first question is, what is this album's compositional format? It's a classical term. What is this album's compositional format? What is this album's compositional format? It's a classical term. I mentioned it earlier on when I gave you a summary of the album concept. That's right. Sorry, I saw Gary's answer. It's a concerto. That's correct. Let me just enlarge his answer. That's right, Gary. You win an applause. Hold on, where's my applause? Here we go. All right, question number 2. There are 3 questions for this one. Besides the theremin, question number 2, what is my other performance technique that features keys? I also mentioned this earlier on. Besides the theremin, what is my other performance technique that features keys? Little music while you think. Yeah, Dreadrat's correct, synthesizer, but to be more precise, extended synthesizer performance. Hooray! Here's applause. I think Dreadrat deserves an album, don't you think? We'll have to get Dreadrat. We need to get your email address so that I can send you an album download. Okay, the 3rd question for Miss OM4. So Dreadrat, you can actually, if you don't want to expose your email details, go to my contact page from my website. It's just, just go to the main page and then hit contact and fill in your name, email, address, and then subject anniversary contest, and just, that's where you can provide me your email so I can send you a download. Thanks, Dreadrat. 3rd question for Miss OM4 again. What is my favorite kind of time signature? You can get all this information from actually the Bandcamp page. But I think you already know my favorite kind of time signature. Favorite kind, it's the quality, not a number. What is my favorite kind of time signature? Yeah, 5/4 seems to be my favorite type of time signature, but it comes under the category of odd time. My favorite kind of time signature would be an odd time instead of an even time. Now where's the applause? Hold on. I'm gonna just play a couple more, maybe one question from each of the other albums, and then we will wrap it up. Alright, a question from my very first album. If you recall, my very first album was Shueh-li Xenovibes, this one. The question is, what moniker was Shueh-li writing under that became the name of the band she took on tour? What moniker was Shueh-li writing under that became the name of the band she took on tour? Yay! Yes. Zero vibes. Hooray. I think, Gary, you have a copy of this album already. Mike, do you have a copy of this album? If not, I'll send it to you. Let me know, Mike. Okay, next question is from Music from Another Land. And the question is, what two topics does Music from Another Land, the album, celebrate? What two topics does Music from Another Land, the album, celebrate? Again, the answer is on my Bandcamp site. What two topics does Music from Another Land, the album, celebrate? Anyone want to guess what two topics Music from Another Land, the album, celebrates? Okay, the answer is diverse musical culture and the spirit of live performance. I believe it's in the blurb here somewhere. If you read it carefully, you'll see it. All right, next question is Crossing Paths, the album. This one here. And the question is, and I think I think my friends already know it. I'll pick the easy question. And if you've been following me, you would know the answer to this. So track 7, Sweet Talker. It's kind of like a country-ish song. I've never written a country song, so I wrote it for a reason. What reason was this? What purpose was this written for? Purpose means it was for something, not someone, but for, I'll give you a clue, an event. Track 7, what was the purpose that Sweet Talker was written? No one knows the answer? I'll give you a few more seconds. Gary said you wrote Sweet Talker to try to write a country song. No. Alright, so here's the answer. It was for the Grapevine Opry's 21st anniversary, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. I now have to check. I need to check what year they're celebrating. It's very easy. All this is on my website as well. Grapevine Opry's 21st anniversary show. I was invited. Hey, Rocky Gribble, if you're tuning in, Rocky Gribble was the producer of the Grapevine Opry, and he invited me to perform. And and I thought, well, what better opportunity than this one to write a song, and to write a country song, and to write the theremin into a country song. So that's how that happened. This one, I think all of you know this. So this is for the final album. I haven't had a question for yet, and the question for this is a simple one. Give me the first and last name of the guest musician on this album. He plays with a band whose name is that of a city in Missouri. I repeat. First and last name of the guest musician on this album. He plays with a band whose name is that of a city in Missouri. Or you think I'm glad I haven't melted yet? I'm still sitting here. I can feel some breeze coming in. It's almost 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. So I'm glad to feel the breeze. But anyone got an answer to my question for a working title of the album? Name. Give me the first and last name of the guest musician on this album. He plays with the band whose name is that of a city in Missouri. Okay, give up? Alright, the person is Tom Brislin. Tom Brislin, who was a guest on Music and Chat just recently, as well as 4 years ago. He played at Mokefest 07 as well as I did, and I had the gang from Mokefest 07 reunite on Music and Chat. I think it was, 4 years ago it was, and we had a semi-reunion just a couple of months ago as well, where I also brought on the stage manager of that event. Okie dokie Smokey. I'm gonna play one last track from Miss OM4 and then call it an evening. I'm going to have a little meal, turn on the AC at full blast, and put my feet up, and be very grateful that all of you have been here to celebrate with me. So let's pick a song to play to end this broadcast. What should it be? Name a track to play to finish off this live stream. I think I'm going to pick, well, I wait to see if any of you have a request, album request time. If not, Galore. Okay, Gary has picked Galore. Let me just put his request up there. Galore it shall be. That's everyone's favorite as well. I think one of the favorites. Here we go. clicked the page by accident. So there we are, Galore, track. Which number was this one from MissOriented Metaphor? Let me check. It's track 4. There are only 6 tracks on MissOriented Metaphor, And it's been so great to have you, my friends, here with me to celebrate the first anniversary of the album release. Again, the album is half off for a whole week, along with the other albums. And if you haven't if you're not an owner of my music yet, or you're looking for something to give, some music to give to music lovers, please download my music. And I know that whoever receives them will be extremely happy. Thank you so much. Again, the discount is for a week until the end of the 6th of July. I will be in a different state by then. I'm always moving. So thanks again to be joining me on Music and Chat with Shueh-li Ong on this special day. I want to do this for all of you, and also this for all of you, and I want to applaud all of you. Thank you again for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel to be notified of the next live stream if you haven't already, and that's for those who are watching this in its archived version. Otherwise, take care, my friends, and I'll see you next time, I hope very soon. So I'll say goodbye now, and Dread Red, you'll get your album in the next few days, and Mike as well, you get yours once I clean up here, because I'm packing to be on the road again in a couple of days. So there you are. Thanks again, everyone. Take care till I see you. Bye.